Fire and Lightning, an audio drama brought to you by Esch Productions. Written by Christopher Esch. Cold and empty. Yor stood in the light in the heat of the flames, not feeling a bit of either. Not even the pain from her wounds made it past this cold emptiness of grief. She stared into the blaze of the funeral pyre, attempting to process the events of the past few hours. The only thing holding her back from becoming a sobbing mess was the thought of her children. Yor had to keep it together for them. Tildra couldn't seem to let go of Yor or stop the sobs racking her tiny body. Kale sat only a few feet away, knees to chest. His eyes locked onto the figure surrounded by flames, tears streaming freely.
For them, I must be strong. I must be strong.
The thought repeated itself in Yor's mind, over and over. It was as if she was trying to convince herself to hold on just a bit longer. These thoughts became less convincing the longer she stayed in place, watching. A light breeze picked up, sending a burst of sparks into the sky. Yor lifted her face, following the tiny lights. It was then she noticed a distant flash in the darkening night sky. A low rumble eventually made its way to her ears. Yor took a steadying breath. It was time.
Kale? Tildra? Do you hear that?
Hear what?
Sniffled her little princess, wiping her tears on her mother's skirt. Kale didn't move.
The thunder. The oncoming storm. Lady Kaana is coming to escort your father home now.
But this is home. He promised to teach me, like Selwyn.
Barely holding in her emotions, Yor lowered herself to eye level with her little girl.
Oh, sweet one. Sometimes the gods have a different plan for our lives. Sometimes we're called home to the Gilded Hall just a little bit earlier than we'd hoped. Come on now. Let's get inside before Lady Kaana arrives.
Yor lifted Tildra and carried the girl on her hip.
Kale, time to head inside.
Without a word, the boy stood and followed, head hung and shuffling as if dazed. They entered the house to see Gorthak, sitting at the dining table, staring at two tankards, one half filled with ale, the other full. The large, bearded man looked at his sister, niece, and nephew.
We always shared an ale after battle. Figured I should pour him one, even though...
I remember, Gore. Don't forget, I too was an adventurer back in the day. May I?
Gesturing to the seat opposite Gorthak.
If anyone's entitled to it, it'd be you.
He pushed the full tankard towards her. They sat in silence for a few moments, sipping at their drinks. Thunder rumbled, and lightning flashed more frequently. The children quietly left the kitchen. The contemplative silence broke when Yor asked,
He hasn't come back yet, has he?
Sel? No, not yet. But I have a few ideas where the boy might be.
He took one last swig of ale and stood.
If I'm not back in 2 days, know I found him, and I will take care of him.
You're leaving now? The storm is about to break.
Why not now? I've tracked in storms before. Besides, the Lady of Storms will guide my path.
Reaching down, he shouldered a large pack and his warhammer.
It's going to be okay, sis. I promise.
With that, Gorthak Lindworm closed the door and made his way into the storm-filled night. A cold breeze blew across the hilltop overlooking the fields scattered with the dozen or so funeral pyres. Selwyn stood with the hood of his cloak pulled up and leaning on his spear, the same spear that drew both his and its first blood last night. From the hilltop, he watches the tiny figures of his mother and siblings overseeing the torchbearer, lighting the pyre of his father. The torchbearer leans in and lights the base of the fuel as the torch's flames begin to catch and grow. Two equally irrational thoughts battle within the young man. He simultaneously wants to run, pull the body from the fire, and wake his obviously sleeping father.
He can't be dead. It can't be possible.
He thought for just a moment. Then, images of last night's battle start to play in his mind.
No, Ka'ana. Please let this be a bad dream. Run. No one can accuse, blame, or hate you if you run and never return.
At that moment, the first flash of lightning and peal of thunder rumbles across the valley Selwyn called home for his 16 years. Immediately, he knew he had to run. He didn't stop thinking about where he was going, just that he had to get as far away from his sin as possible. As Selwyn ran, the wind began to pick up behind him as if to push him forward. Rain began to fall as he entered the forest surrounding his village, in a mist at first, and then a downpour. A part of Selwyn was grateful for this, because it masked the tears streaming from his eyes. A flash of lightning lit up the surrounding forest for a moment, followed shortly by a concussive boom of thunder. The rapidity of the light and sounds triggered visions of last night to play out in Selwyn's mind. Images he'd just as soon forget.
Boy, stay here and protect the family. Gorthak and I will rally the men.
But Father, I can help. I'm ready. I can fight.
Gripping the first bladed spear he had ever received. Quickly returning to Selwyn, he gripped his boy's shoulder.
I know that, son. I need you to stay here and protect the family. I can't be in two places at once. Now, what do we say?
A Lindworm fights with the storms, not against them.
Very good.
Ruffling his son's hair.
See you on the other side.
Selwyn's father then turned and ran off towards the clashes and screams that were the unfamiliar sounds of battle. Another flash of lightning brought Selwyn back to the present just in time to dodge a low-hanging tree branch. His muscles burning, he pressed on. Instincts guided him as the sun had set, and the lightning bursts were the only light source. Still, he ran. An ear-splitting crack of thunder drove the memories back to the surface of his mind. His mother was distracted by his siblings. The sounds of clashing steel and shouts of warriors called Selwyn to join the battle. After all, he was a Lindworm and had been training for this moment most of his life. Without another thought, he hefted his spear and ran out of the house to join the fray. Selwyn rounded the street corner that led to the village center. There, he was greeted by a vision of pure chaos. The men and women of the town guard fighting shadowy figures wielding long sickle-shaped blades. After only a moment, he saw where he thought he could help. Only a few yards away, his friend's father, Keth, struggled against an opponent nearly twice his size. Selwyn only made it a few steps before the dark figure rammed its blade through Keth's midsection. After that, things got fuzzy. Selwyn could only recall a scream, a thud, and warm blood covering the haft of his spear. The next thing he registered was the realization that he had just ended somebody's life. Before he could turn around, he heard a clash and two heavy thuds directly behind him. Turning around, Selwyn beheld an image forever burned into his soul. Anduin Lindworm, his father, knelt on both knees, swaying and barely conscious. There was a wicked-looking gash across his chest, and a weak smile of relief on his lips.
Oh, good. You're safe.
His eyes clouded over as he collapsed. What felt like an explosion of thunder brought Selwyn back as he broke through a tree line into a clearing. At that point, exhaustion overwhelmed him, and he collapsed to his knees. The emotions he had mentally walled off came flooding in like a dam bursting. Storm still raging around him, he leaned back with his face to the sky and let loose a scream. It was full of primal rage that his father was gone, disgust and hatred as he knew it was his fault, and sorrow for the loss and knowledge that he could never return to his home. Selwyn put everything he had left into that scream. When he was done, almost as if the storm itself were responding, there was a final flash of lightning and crack of thunder. Then blackness overtook him. The sound of birds singing their morning song roused Selwyn from his unconsciousness. For a moment, before opening his eyes, he thought it was all just a nightmare. He pulled the woolen blanket closer and rolled over towards the gentle heat of the campfire.
Campfire? Blanket. I'm not alone.
His eyes snapped open, taking stock of his situation. Next to the fire sat the familiar form of Uncle Gorthak, tending a frying pan with something cooking inside. Selwyn's stomach let out an audible growl as the savory smells of sausage and potatoes wafted over him. He closed his eyes to feign sleep so he could try to make a plan to escape.
Finally awake, are we? You might as well get up. Breakfast is almost ready.
Selwyn cautiously sat up, avoiding eye contact with his uncle. Gorthak continued to tend the food silently. The silence felt too oppressive for Selwyn to sit still, so he busied himself by folding the blanket and placing it by Gorthak's pack. Gorthak split the food between two plates, offering one to Selwyn. Accepting the plate, Selwyn took a seat a few paces away from Gorthak.
I'm not going back.
What was that? Speak up.
I said I'm not going back.
Oh, yeah. What might your plans be?
I don't know yet, but I know I'm not going back with you.
Never said I was here to take you home.
Right. So Mother didn't send you after me?
Nope. Come to make sure you're all right.
Well, I'm fine. You've seen that I'm fine.
Physically, you may be fine, but mentally and emotionally, you're as far from fine as I am to jumping over a mountain.
What do you know about emotional and mental? I thought you were from the Telrek tribes.
True. The Telreks aren't known for their brains or for talking out their feelings. I haven't been one of them for quite a few years. I have seen a few things and gotten advice from those smarter and wiser than me. That's why I think we can make a deal.
What kind of deal?
I tell you a story I've only ever fully told your dad. In return, I ask that you listen, finish your food, drink water, and not do anything rash until I finish my tale. Deal? Good. So, my twin brother and I were born into the Ice Panther clan of the Tolrek people. Yes, I had a twin brother Morthak. Save your questions for after. Anyway, we were known as the Thunder Twins, for how loud we could be, and how ferociously we fought as a team. When we reached our 16th winter, we were expected to go on a ceremonial hunt, to gain acceptance into the tribe and to prove our manhood. We had been on many regular hunts for food, so Morthak and I, we were confident we would succeed. We should have been more cautious. But we were young and had everything to prove. The morning of our ceremony, Morthak and I went into the chief's hut to learn what we were going to be hunting. The chief pulled a frost bear totem out of the ceremonial bag. Now, we had hunted for regular bears before and figured frost bear couldn't be that much more challenging. We were wrong. My brother and I took our provisions and headed into the northern mountains. We called them Sonothi Koteth, the Mountains of Death. After about a week of travel, we reached our hunting grounds, and we made base camp and started tracking. It took us 3 days to find the den of a frost bear. The cave was on a mountainside next to a cliff. Now that we found the den, we watched it for a few days and developed a strategy. Morthak had the idea to wait until it returned to rest, sneak up, and attack it while it slept. This was a great idea, so we waited. After a while, it did return. We started to sneak into the cave. I approached the beast. Gods, it was enormous. Probably the size of our chief's hut. Our plan was for me to target its neck, and Morthak to aim for the heart. We managed to get into position and nodded to each other to signal that we were ready. Then I saw the sleeping forms of 3 cubs, and hesitated. I guess Morthak didn't see them and struck for the heart. He must have missed, or one spear thrust wasn't enough to fell the beast. Either way, it woke up angry and in pain. We attempted to fight it off to no avail. It managed to back us out of the cave, and was about to strike me when Morthak shoved me out of the way, taking the blow full on. The impact force sent us both over the cliff's edge. I don't know how I survived. I returned to the village with Morthak's body. I told everyone what happened, and was exiled for the crime of cowardice. During my exile, I met your Da and Ma. When given new information, I learned that reconsidering your actions isn't a crime. Now that you know everything, I want you to think about it for a while. We also have a choice to make. Return to the village and reconcile with everyone? Or do we go hunting?
I took a large room far up Broadway in a huge old building whose upper stories had been wholly unoccupied for years. Hours, I sat there thinking of bygone times with a comforting sense of relief. But as my reverie softened, so did the sounds outside. I slept profoundly. Exactly how long, I do not know. But suddenly, all was still. All but my own heart. Then suddenly, my sheets began to slip away toward the foot of my bed, as if someone were pulling them. I could not stir, I could not speak. Still, the blanket slipped away till my breast was uncovered. Then, with a great effort, I pulled them back over my head and waited. Listened and waited again. Once more that steady pull began, and once more I lay there for several seconds till my breast was naked again. At last I roused my energies and snatched the covers back in their place and held them with a strong grip. I waited. I felt a tug, faint at first, and once again took a fresh grip. Tug strengthened to a steady strain, and then grew stronger and stronger. Then my hold parted, and for the third time the blanket slid away. This is just a dream. Just a horrible, hideous, disgusting, terrifying dream. There it was, a footprint, much like mine, but so much bigger in comparison. Mine was like that of an infant's. waters are invaded. The door did not open, and yet I felt a faint gust of air fan my cheek. Then, a huge, cloudy presence appeared before me. I watched with fascinated eyes as its cloudy folds took shape, first an arm, then legs, then a body, and last a sad face. Stripped of its clothing, muscular and comely, the Cardiff giant appeared before me. Why, it's nobody but you. Did you know I have been scared to death for the past 2 or 3 hours? I am honestly glad to see you. I wish I had a chair, but no, don't sit in that thing. You'll... Stop, you'll ruin everything. Confound it, haven't you got any judgment at all? Come over here, you petrified fool, you... What sort of way is that to do? First you come lumbering about the place, bringing a legion of vagabond goblins along with you to worry me to death. Then when I overlook an indecency, a costume which would not be tolerated anywhere by most people except in a respectable theater, and not even there if the nudity were of your sex, you repay me by breaking all my furniture? And why will you? You damage yourself as much as you do me. You have broken off the end of your spinal column and littered up the floor with chips of your hams till the place looks like a marble yard. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're big enough to know better.
Sorry, I will not break any more furniture. But what else am I to do? I've not had a chance to sit down in over a century.
Poor devil, I should not have been so harsh with you, especially because you're an orphan too. Sit down on the floor here. Nothing else can stand your weight. Besides, we can't be sociable with you way up there above me. I want you to sit down where I can perch on this counting house stool and gossip with you face to face. What's wrong with the bottoms of your feet and the back of your legs so that you are gouged up so?
Chillblades. Infernal chillblades. Caught them clear up to the back of my head roosting out there under Newell's farm. But I love the place. I love it as much as one loves their own home. There is no peace for me like the peace I feel when I am there.
Half an hour later.
Tired? Well, I should think so. And since you have treated me so well, I will tell you all about it. I am the ghost of the Cardiff giant. I can have no rest, no peace, till they give that poor old body burial again. Now, what was the most natural thing for me to do to make men satisfy this wish? Terrify them into it. So I haunted the museum, night after night. I even got other spirits to help me, but it did no good. Nobody even came to the museum at midnight. Then it occurred to me to haunt the place a little. I felt that if I ever got a hearing, I must succeed, for I had the most efficient company perdition could furnish. Night after night we have shivered around through these mildewed halls, dragging chains, groaning, whispering, tramping up and down the stairs. To tell you the truth, I'm almost worn out. But when I saw the light in your room, I went at it again with a deal of old freshness. But I am tired out, entirely fagged out. Give me some hope. I beseech you, give me some hope.
Well, this transcends everything. Everything that ever did occur. Why, you poor old fossil. You have had all your trouble for nothing. A real Cardiff giant is in Albany. Confound it, don't you know your own remains?
Honestly, is that true?
As true as I am sitting here.
Gosh, Well, I never felt so absurd before. The Cardiff Giant has sold out everybody else. And now the mean fraud has ended by selling his own ghost. Please, son, if there is any charity left in you, don't let this get out. Think how you'd feel if you made such an ass of yourself.
I can't believe he's gone. With all my red blankets.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here, forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now to still the beating of my heart I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, this it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you." Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore?" This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched above my chamber door. Perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore, "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore." But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then, upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking "Nevermore." This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then, methought, the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. "Wretch," I cried, "thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden if, within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Be that word our sign in parting, bird or fiend," I shrieked upstarting, "get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
We have now unearthed a new retelling of the Prometheus legend and how humans came to populate the earth. So for your further listening enjoyment, we proudly present Prometheus, Mystic Hero, or Wise Guy.
Almighty Zeus, Prometheus the Titan is here to see you.
Send him in. And by the way, what are you doing for lunch?
Oh, Zeus.
Prometheus, my good friend, what brings you to Olympus?
Almighty Zeus, I got a business proposition for you.
Ah, would you like some vino?
Yeah, sure.
I had the Giannis's make this special today.
You can still taste his feet.
You want a cigar?
Nice lighter.
Her faith made it for me. The flame can shoot up to 30 feet in the air. Watch this.
Holy moly!
See all those scorch marks on the ceiling? My lighter. Now, what is your proposition?
Can you put out the Zippo first?
Done. Talk.
Well, you know my brother, Prometheus.
Epi? Epi is a very good boy.
Well, he's heading the whole filling the earth with living creatures account for the family.
And doing good work. Have you seen those yappy, bug-eyed, hairless rat things?
Chihuahuas. He's calling them chihuahuas.
Yeah, those crack me up. He's got a sense of humor, Epi does.
He does. But I've been looking over the whole account, and I've got to tell you, something's missing.
What's missing? By the time you got chihuahuas, there's really nowhere else to go.
Yeah, you got all these animals scrambling around down there, and nobody's running the show. We need someone in charge on the ground.
What are you proposing?
I'd like to create a creature to manage our affairs on Earth. A go-between between the gods and the rest of nature.
You are suggesting in the middle of paradise down there, we create middle management?
I'm saying there's no way ants and llamas and puffins are going to pay you the kind of respect you deserve.
Yeah, you do have a point.
Someone's got to look out for us and them. I mean, look at the dodo bird. Who's going to take care of the dodo bird if we don't create humans?
Humans? That's the name for your project?
It's a working title.
And what are these humans going to be made of?
I'm thinking clay.
Clay? You have every material in the universe to work with, and you're going to make them out of mud?
It's cheap. If we're going to mass produce these things, we need to keep our overhead low.
Prometheus, my boy, here is my offer. You go ahead with this human project. If you can make these things self-sufficient, so I don't have to step in to save their assets, then they can be fruitful and multiply. But if these things can't make it on their own, they're out of here.
Zeus, I will not let you down.
Don't. Or I have to nail you to a mountain or something.
I think I should go.
Hello. Prometheus? It's Epidemius down in the lab.
It's 3 in the morning, Epi. What do you want?
It's more what you want. I kind of screwed up.
Cut to the chase.
Well, I was kind of handing out the last of the attributes, right?
Yeah.
Flight to the birds. Claws, speed, and fur to the tigers. Blubber to the walruses to keep warm. The ability to mate 5 times to the rabbits just cause they're cute and I want to see more of them.
Where are you going with this, Epi?
Well, I got done handing stuff out, and there was little humans just sitting there naked. I had nothing left to give them.
You ran out of attributes?
Cleaned out. I shouldn't have given immortality to the cockroaches. That was a bad call.
So what did you do with the people?
I let them go.
You what?
I set them free down on Earth. I figured I owe them a few hours of running around time before they went extinct.
Where are they now?
They're kind of cornered in a tree. The wolves and leopards and hyenas are just sitting below them, licking their lips, waiting for chow time. And there's a ticked-off koala up there with them, beaming them with acorns and sticks and crap. They look pretty miserable.
I don't believe you, Epi. I asked for one favor.
Don't go busting my chops. I offered you the extra noses.
When are you getting more supplies?
There ain't no more supplies. I'm done. The Earth supply is closed, brother. And good riddance. You want to come over for some popcorn so we can watch the people jumping around and yelling? It's pretty funny.
I gotta go. Goodbye, Epi.
Who is it?
Zeus, it's me, Prometheus. I got a problem.
You bet you have a problem. You barged into my bedroom middle of the night?
Susie, who is it?
Nobody, Hera.
Prometheus, what are you doing here? Can I get you some ambrosia?
He is not having any ambrosia. He's going home and calling during decent hours.
Every hour is decent when Prometheus is around. Aren't they, Prometheus?
I don't.
Wife, you get back to bed this instant.
Which bed would that be? The bed you haven't slept in the last 3 nights while you were with that little tease?
This is not the time or the place.
Can I just...
Excuse us, Prometheus. This is a private domestic affair.
As private as you, flaunting your girlfriend all over Olympus?
That was no excuse for turning her into a heifer.
Just bringing out her true personality.
Guys, listen.
Stay out of this.
Zeus, the humans I created, they're up a tree without a paddle, or claws, or feathers, or anything. I need some gifts to give them quick before they're swimming with the fishes.
This is none of my concern.
Ask Io what kind of gifts he gave her.
Hera?
Zeus, I'm in a corner here. You gotta help.
This is your account, Prometheus. If it brings us honor to the family, this is on your head. The day I get involved with those humans is the day I turn into a swan.
But...
we will have no further relations with humans. Period. Now I'm going to bed.
Not with me, you're not.
Look at me, I'm weeping.
I'll give you something to weep about.
Zeus, you forgot your lighter. Wait a minute. What do gods have that no other animal possess? Fire! I gotta get down to earth.
I can't believe we're still stuck in this tree. Look, that one down there has sharp fangs, too.
And this snake wrapped around me. I don't think it's trying to keep me warm. I can't breathe.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a crane. It's
someone who looks like us.
He's scaring the animals away.
And the snake is gone. Oh, thank the gods.
You're welcome.
Ah, are you a god?
I'm just very good at what I do. Come out of the tree. The animals are gone. You could have climbed down.
We didn't know.
I can't stay long. I just want to give you this.
That's a very pretty box.
It's a lighter. Inside this box is what will raise you above the animals and make you the most powerful creatures on the earth.
Are they good throwing rocks?
Pointed sticks?
Better. Here, let's take this branch.
I didn't know that came off.
You got a long way to go, you know that? Now watch. I open this lighter, hold it to this branch, and you might want to stand back there. Fire.
Wow, it's pretty. Can I pet it?
No.
Yo!
No. See? You can't.
Will it look good in my hair?
Don't.
Eee!
You call this a gift?
You gotta use it right, you hairless ape. It'll warm you in the winter, roast all your food, illuminate the darkest night.
I bet I could kick some serious butt with this stuff.
Well, yeah, I guess.
We can clear whole swatches of forest with this. Burn out everything and everyone who gets in our way.
Well, I suppose.
Look, honey, I'm master of the universe. Woohoo!
Watch you don't burn your arm hairs.
Listen, I gotta return the lighter before anybody realizes it's gone. You guys have a tremendous power now, and tremendous responsibility. Use it to raise yourselves and all your children beyond this world and the next. Dream as far as you can, and let this gift take you there. Farewell.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Barbecue!
Welcome back, Prometheus.
Ah, you're awake.
I never got back to sleep, thank you very much. You hear that thunder? My dear wife's still storming around. You've been visiting your little humans?
How'd you know?
You smell like the monkey house at the zoo. I thought I told you to cut off all contact.
They were getting eaten alive down there. Literally.
And for this you stole my lighter?
I didn't.
The leader of the gods may lose track of many things. His thunderbolts, his clean togas, his illegitimate offsprings, but never his Zippo.
I was borrowing it.
I see. Then I think I must borrow you for a few moments. Boys?
Hey, who are these two goons?
Force and violence. They are here to escort you to my chariot.
Where are we going? For a little ride? Get some fresh air?
You're the god of foresight. You figured it out.
Where are we?
The Caucasus Mountains. I wanted to take you out past the edge of all civilization. I brought you here only because New Jersey hasn't been invented yet.
What are you gonna do? I'm a Titan. You can't kill me.
You stole my Zippo. There's nowhere you're getting off as easy as death. Boys, chain him to the mountain.
So you're gonna leave me out here in the storm, chained to a rock. That's your idea of a clever punishment?
Well, I think it's going to get pretty boring out here. After a couple of centuries, you'll notice you didn't bring a book.
I don't care. I can always do some bird watching.
Yeah, that bird's going to be watching you. In a moment, that eagle there is going to fly over to you and peck your liver out.
You're kidding. What kind of self-respecting eagle will fly over to someone and ouch? Hey, stop that.
When he's done with your liver, he'll fly away. And overnight, being a Titan, you will grow another liver. And guess who will be flying back the next day to pick that one out?
All right. A for creativity. You've made your point. Ouch! Get out of here! Ow! That's unsanitary.
After a few millennia of this, I think you will be rethinking your decision to give my fire to your little people. Come on, boys. And Prometheus, don't just hang around here all day. Liver a little.
That's a good one, Zeus. Ouch! Ruler of the whole universe, and that's the best pun you can come up with. Ow! Ow! You'll see, when the memory of Zeus is just a dusty, crusty footnote in some library, my little humans will be living and thriving and rejoicing. Ouch! Ow! Well, this stinks. What's that? Is that a horselet chariot?
Hey, honey, look. It's the god who gave us fire.
Ooh, get my picture with him.
Humans?
Can you get the eagle to stop flapping? It's going to be all blurry in the photo.
Shoo, scram. Say goodbye to the eagle.
Thank you.
Honey, can you get me and Prometheus here and his, what is that, your liver?
Yes.
Ew.
It'll grow back. Don't worry.
Ew.
Listen, how'd you get all the way out here? And what's with that horseless chariot?
It's called an SUV, your worshipfulness.
We drove out here to set up a new housing development. The cities are getting too crowded.
Where you're chained, there's going to be a brand new mall.
A Gap Kids store right where your liver is.
You work fast.
We got urban sprawl to sprawl, you know?
And we owe it all to you. Without fire, we never would have made it this far this fast.
I don't know how we can ever repay you.
You could unchain me from this mountain.
Of course. What were you thinking? Sweetie, get the thing from the trunk.
The Chainbreaker 3000 coming right up.
I'm free. Thank you.
Who did this to you?
Zeus. king of the gods. He's kind of spiteful.
Isn't there a law against this, Sugar Lumps? You can't just chain a man to a mountain and have an eagle rip out his liver every day. That's just rude.
It's so pre-Geneva Convention.
Well, he's the Godfather. What are you gonna do?
I'll tell you what to do. You prosecute.
Sue the jerk.
Emotional damages alone could total millions. Look at your liver.
If I ever turn on him, he'll do worse than chain me to a rock.
Not if he can't find you.
That's right.
You can be the very first member of the Witness Protection Program.
I could, couldn't I?
Come on, let's see the feds.
I could change my hair color and my name.
Prometheus, how does that sound?
I like it. Let's do it. Let's nail that creep.
So to speak.
Come on. Construction is starting on the new mall.
And look, the sun's coming up. A new dawn for the whole human race.
And we owe it all to fire. Watch out. Don't step in the liver, honey.